Gadget Dad here, bringing you a review on the SpeedVault, the Gunvault SpeedVault Biometric version. I don't want to just talk about this safe specifically, but safes in general and why you need something like this possibly as a dad. I think the first thing and foremost, if you haven't gotten this from me yet, I'm not a gun fanatic in the sense that I'm prepping for a home invasion or the end of the world. I think guns are cool gadgets. I like having them. They're fun to me. They're a fun hobby, but you have to keep them safe, and that's first and foremost, especially if you have kids. I have twin girls at home at 1.5 years old. I think of the world as risk as a former project manager, and I look at risk in every sense and shape and form. So if you're gonna have guns at home for home defense, I think it's a good idea, but you need to also calculate the risks of the potential of it getting in the hands of your children. Or your wife possibly getting a hold of one and shooting you as you come into the door. All of these things have risks to them, and they're never zero. And you need to look around your environment. What kind of house are you in? Where do you live? What's the risk of actually someone coming in and assaulting you with a violent crime where you would need something like that to protect yourself? So balance all those risks and what can you live with. I think for me, first and foremost, I cannot live with the risk of my kids harming themselves or others with a handgun. So safety is absolutely paramount. It comes way before my concerns of someone breaking into the house. But this is where some of this stuff comes into play. So I think it's important to invest in safes, especially if you're gonna have guns around, how you control them. I mean, we all have a responsibility, a family responsibility, but also a legal responsibility to keep guns away from children and minors as they're growing up. They don't know what they are. And safes come into place. Let me talk about this one. First of all, the biometric version, there's two versions of this safe from Gunvault, the SpeedVault. There is a pin version, which is a 4-pin code, obviously 4 to the 4th power, whatever that is in pins. And then there's the biometric version, which actually reads your fingerprint. That's what I'm gonna show today. When I looked out for, and I'm always here just to give you a synopsis of the other YouTube videos that are out there, because when I'm buying this stuff, I watch them all. So I didn't see really good videos as how did this work, and I saw some videos actually saying it didn't work well. So I just want to report and clear the air on my experience of how quickly it swipes, does it identify you, and things like that. When I first bought this, I thought it was going to be kind of a bedside thing in my head, and as I thought about it more and talked to my wife about it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because even if you have concerns about, well, what if the kid comes up and swipes their finger, because they'll do that, they do that with your phone, and it actually opens. I don't know what that security is and what the chance of that is or risk of that. I think the bigger question is, what's the chance of it closing and not really closing? If it's in arm's length, they're gonna reach in and get it. And then you get questions of, do you leave the gun loaded? Do you not leave the gun loaded? My perspective is you don't ever leave the gun loaded. I'll take on any risk of having to get bullets from one space and a gun from another and put all that together and cock the gun and ready the gun to defend ourselves if we have to do that. I'm willing to take on that extra risk if that ever happens, which is fairly minute where we live and reside. So I think it's important to think about how you're going to use that and what makes sense. And that's where this has kind of changed for me and how I plan to use it going forward. It's got to be up high and out of reach, just in case you don't close it properly. It shouldn't be in a place where a child should climb. It should be high in the closet, somewhere that you can reach still and get into. So this one runs about $205. The pin version runs about $129. It works about as you expected. It mounts in all kinds of ways. I'm going to open it in a second. It mounts on the side, on the top, on the back, on the other side. So you can mount it pretty much anywhere you want it to go. I have seen some people use this as kind of a home office thing. It's like in their desk. I would obviously, for me, I would never bring something like this to work and mount it in my company's office. That seems very strange. But maybe you have a home office somewhere and you do business. I know my jeweler, I don't blame him for having a gun in his office. He's selling diamonds. So it can make sense in some situations. And I think it's probably ideal for that. you have a home office and you have a higher risk in that job for whatever reason, you're a skip tracer, I don't know what those jobs are, but that would make a lot of sense for this usage. The pin and this version, at least the pin version, has some neat features where you can see if someone had tampered with it, at least that someone's tried to enter codes and they failed. I think that's really neat. It's pretty light and compact. I'm going to open it up so you can see. Also, bigger vaults, just so you know, are typically like 500 to 800 bucks if you're just getting a gun vault. Not even getting into the whole safe world. We're not talking about that here. I don't have experience with it. So you can get a sense for the size of it. It's about 1 foot by 1/2 foot, and it mounts and opens this way. It comes with a key as well. My feelings on Biometrics, I like Biometrics in that you can't open a key. You can hide a key in a very, very hidden spot. You don't need to leave a key out and ready somewhere for you to get to that obviously any child or teenager can find as well. So I prefer biometric or PIN codes. That's my preference. A PIN code with 6 digits is, to me, the best. Nearly impossible to guess or pin in. Biometrics good too. I think there's some fear that they'll fail, and obviously there's a battery involved. You'll need the key around. I'm okay with that risk. I think I've explained that. It does come with a neat a little screwdriver, so you won't be hounding for that. Obviously, if you mount it through the side, you'll need to get in there and screw it into whatever you're mounting it to. So those screwdrivers and screws are available, as well as a guide. It's pretty simple to set up, and I've set this one up. I'm gonna get a different camera angle so you can see how it opens and kind of what fits into it, because that was another big surprise to me. What guns fit in here pretty nicely and what guns do not. Let me switch angles and I'll show you how it works. Before I shift over to how the SpeedVault works, I just want to show you, this is an old gun vault I have. I got this from Academy a long time ago. This is the first save I got when I started owning pistols at all. It is just a hand safety. You press these buttons in different codes. This one specifically is about 124 bucks, so about the same price as the SpeedVault with the pins. It holds 4 guns pretty comfortably. I'm going to show you. Actually, this one has broken, so beware. These pins have broken for me. I've tried changing batteries. It just doesn't work. I don't know what the warranty is. I probably had it for 8 or 9 years at this point, so I have to have a key and hide or put that somewhere, which I don't really love or like. This one sits way up in my closet so that there's no chance that anybody could get to it, even if they had the key, at least not the kids. I'm going to pull some guns out and show you how they fit the vault. Got a 38. It's the wife's. We have a Kimber 1911. Glock 34 and a Beretta 96, which is a 40 caliber. All these guns are safety checked. If I accidentally had them loaded and shot myself in this video, the video name would be named something else. It would be Idiot Shooting Himself. So trust me on that. You're not gonna get to see me shoot myself today. All right, I'm gonna close this up and show you how they fit into the SpeedVault. Alright, so here's the vault. I got it set up kind of at a different angle so you can see a little bit better on how it operates. I've already programmed it. You kind of program with an administrator's fingerprint first, at least 2 of them, and then you can add other fingers. I think you can have like 25 fingers, which definitely includes all your digits as well as anybody else that you want to use it. The thing I didn't quite understand about it, to get this to trigger anything to happen, because there is a 9-volt in here, you have to press that button. So you press the button, the green light comes on, and then you swipe your finger, and then it opens. I did not realize the timing, if anything. I kind of thought that you kind of just came up to it, swiped your finger, and it opened pretty quickly. So maybe my expectations were off, but it takes a good 2 to 3 seconds, even if you get a perfect swipe. So I swiped too quickly there. If I'm in a rush, that's kind of concerning. So press the button, you kind of wait for that blinking light to come on, then you swipe, and then it takes another second and a half to come open. Again, I think my expectations were just that happened a little quicker, And I can definitely see where if you were in a rush to get into it, you'd press the button swipe and it wouldn't come on, you'd swipe again, and then it finally opens. It's not a real positive thing to tell you you've had success with opening it. Obviously it comes down and opened. I don't have it mounted here, I'm just holding it up. But just so you can get an idea of how guns fit in there, obviously any .38 pocket-sized pistol is going to fit in there real nice. Gives you a really nice pull on it. So again, press the button, you wait till the blinking, you swipe your finger. You got to swipe your finger fairly quick. Don't do it really all that slow. And I think that's one of the videos I saw, and they annotated that they were just swiping too slow. It is neat. You have settings in here about whether you want the light to come on or not, and also if you want it to beep or not. So you can set it on a mute mode, and then obviously you have your firearm. This one comes out very easily. Let's try the good old 1911 Kimber. Fits in here pretty darn nicely. Make sure it closes. Shouldn't have any problem there. Swipe. See, I swiped too quickly. Got to be more patient, and out it comes. It comes out pretty darn fast. It's got a neat like little bumper thing here on the bottom that'll keep it from hitting too hard or making a lot of noise, but it does make noise. I mean, someone's gonna hear it click and clank, even if you have it on the mute mode here. Okay, so that fits pretty full-size pistol here. In most cases that fits great. The Beretta 92 or 96, whatever you got, any kind of full-size handgun's gonna fit. The compact or subcompact, obviously no brainer. I'll tell you, there's not really a whole lot of good room in here for a spare magazine, which is something you might want to keep. So you can probably, if you can see in there, actually a little insert comes in here for just weatherproof to stop rust on guns. That was sent free, kind of neat. But there's not a whole lot of good space to put a magazine. As you can see, I can kind of try to jam one in here, or maybe I could cut one out, but I'd almost have to modify this. I was surprised by that too. I expected that there would be some slot or position to put a spare magazine if you wanted to in here. I can definitely see that you could cut one out. I put the Beretta in here. You can see there's room in here for one, so I could cut one out, cut some more room in this foam out. I believe this comes out fairly easily, so you can modify it, but it is something you'd have to do. It would make sense that they'd have another little slot here in this section for a second magazine. I don't really know why they don't. I definitely suggest Gunvault does have that, because most people wanting to have a home defense gun or a gun in their office, that they would want a second magazine. So that fits pretty well. Here's where I was surprised. My go-to home defense gun, the Glock 34 9mm with an extended magazine, two extended magazine here, and a light. Obviously we want to see who's in our house. That fits pretty tight because that light's got to find its way. Again, I could modify that foam. I got to jam it in there, and what I was surprised to see when I did that was I can't close the thing. So something to note here is that if you're like me and you want a full-size home defense gun with possibly an extended magazine plate to add 2 or 3 rounds to it, again, this Glock 34 or Glock 17 is going to hold 17 rounds plus another 2 with an extended plate, 19 rounds. That's something I want to have, but it does not fit this. Kind of one of my dream guns to have for home defense is FNX Tactical 45. No way that thing's fitting in here. This Glock 34 is about 8 inches long, 8.8 inches long and 5.43 inches tall. And then you got the extended plate in here, so it just doesn't fit. I think if it was just a little bit bigger, you could fit a lot more home defense guns, which would make sense that this is your go-to home defense safe to go and get. A lot of people, hunters and other people, have a large safe, but to have a closer safe that's a little quicker to access with a hidden key that you can put in your larger safe would make sense for home defense guns, and I think this limits it. Honestly, I'm sending this one back for that specific reason. I'm just going to continue to use the larger safe I have, actually have another one coming in from Secure. I'll review that one too, model 52, and let you know how I like it. But this is a deal breaker for me, that I can't fit a full-size gun in here. I was like, man, maybe they just don't fit a full-size Glock. And what do you know, I pulled out the normal size magazine. I thought maybe it was the tactical light doing it, so I put a normal magazine in it, and sure enough, it fits right in there, no problem. So just know that there's a delay here on the swipe, another second and a half delay, and we can only fit full-size pistols in here, but forget extended mags, and forget any guns that you have with any kind of optics. You know, the FNX 45 Tactical comes with optical cutouts. Add an optical. There's no way that will have clearance to fit in here as far as the top section of this goes. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at this safe. You may want to look to different safes to carry or secure a gun like that. But those were some surprising things for me and to work out with. Overall, it definitely performs better than I thought. I haven't had any issues as long as I'm operating this correctly, waiting for the blinking light, swiping my finger at a pretty good pace. It opens. It's opened every time that I've done that correctly. The only times it doesn't is when I press this button and swipe too quick. Then I got to either swipe again, and then it works. So I do recommend this safe. Great idea for office use, office security. It mounts very cleanly inside of a desk if you're in a job where you might need that kind of security. I don't recommend it as a father, as a bedside gun, because you know, you just don't know what could happen as far as it swiping open, or maybe you swiped and you walked away and it didn't open quite right away, or it didn't close all the way. Now it does close pretty positively, I'll tell you that. It'd be hard for me to imagine a way to think you had closed this but not really closed it, either closing it really soft or really hard. It catches every time. So maybe that's less of a risk or concern, but still not something I want to worry about. That somehow, if something's neat and shiny and new in the house, I think Gadget Mom can attest, the kids are going to try to pry it open and get it open any way they can. And they're going to try to mimic you to get that thing open as well. So that's my decision. I'm sending this one back for that reason. I think there's better solutions, but I do recommend it. The Biometric does work great. I prefer this. I'd still prefer this over a pin, especially at night. I wear glasses, might have glasses on, I can't see, my eyes are groggy. As long as I can find this button, I can find where to swipe the finger, and it's gonna open every time I've done it. So that's the review on our Gunvault SpeedVault SVB version, which is the Biometric version 500. So search these on Amazon. Again, the prices for the keyed version SV500, which is the keyed version, that's $129, and the SVB500, that's $205. I'll follow up with other reviews on the full-size gun safe that I have coming in from Secure, the model 52. I'm looking forward to get that one in and giving it a review on it. But I'd also like to hear from you what things you want to see reviewed, especially in this world, and the tech world, and the gadget world. Please send them in, and I'll get them done.